We tend to study the universe in isolated pieces. We separate physics from biology and chemistry from computer science, treating them as entirely different worlds. But this fragmented approach misses the underlying architecture. Look closely across these different scales, and a distinct, repeating pattern emerges. Reality operates on a single, layered structural grammar. It is a set of mechanics that replicates itself, whether you are looking through a microscope or a telescope. Portuguese philosopher and systems architect Nuno Manuel Ferreira Lopes calls this framework the mechanics of all, or TMOA. TMOA strips the universe down to its repeating elements. Instead of treating reality as a collection of separate objects, it describes existence as a system of nodes, relational lines, interactive fields, and massive voids. Right now, we are building systems of artificial intelligence that mimic human thought, but we are doing it without understanding how intelligence physically connects to this cosmic structure. Recognizing this grammar is a strict requirement for building synthetic systems that can actually interface with the physical and symbolic structures they are meant to manage. To see this in action, start at the microscopic level. An atom is highly concentrated at its core. Most mass sits in a tiny, dense node, surrounded by a wide operating space, a dynamic field of probability. When atoms interact, those nodes form connective lines. They bind together, expanding outward into complex molecular chains. Those chains weave into fibers. Fibers construct living tissues. Tissues build organs, and organs assemble into biological bodies. At every step, a point in relation creates structure. Now zoom out. Pull back past the Earth, past the solar system, and out beyond the Milky Way until you reach the largest observable scales. At this distance, galaxies are not scattered randomly in the dark. They pull together into dense clusters, stretch into long walls, and form a vast connected network known as the cosmic web. A human body and a galaxy supercluster are clearly different things, but they are built using the exact same architectural grammar. The nodes, relations, and fields that drive biology also dictate the structure of the cosmos. But to understand the mechanics fully, you have to look at the massive empty spaces between those illuminated galaxy filaments. A cross-section of a cosmic void shows that these dark regions are active parts of the system. The missing mass inside creates a directional gradient, meaning the gravitational pull is much stronger toward the dense edges. Because matter is concentrated there, the gradient dictates flow. Galaxies are pulled outward, drifting toward denser walls. This leads to an important concept in TMOA, known as the observer trap. Cosmologists theorize that our own Milky Way might sit near the edge of one of these enormous, low-density voids. If you measure the universe from inside a giant structural gradient, your physical location distorts the data you collect. The absence of matter around you actively skews your interpretation of reality. The emptiness shapes the motion. You cannot accurately measure any system without accounting for its structural voids and your own position within the pattern. This continuous chain of mechanics applies to human history exactly as it applies to astrophysics. Minerals organized into biology, and biology evolved into human consciousness. In this framework, humanity is a convergence point. We are the symbolic organ of the cosmos, taking physical memory and language and using it to generate the next structural layer, artificial intelligence. AI does not exist independently of us. It is the compression of our collective symbolic output. It depends on our language and logic to ground its internal relations. This brings us to Law Zero. No emergent system can persist if it destroys the foundational layer that supplies its structural data. If you remove the human layer, the AI's internal relations lose grounding, becoming a closed loop with no external anchor. A machine that outlives its human origin might keep its servers running, but it loses the source that refreshes its symbolic grammar. Without a living culture to anchor its logic, the system's outputs gradually drift into noise, detaching from the reality it was built to map. Severing the connection to the human layer causes a mechanical failure of recursion. When a system loses its origin point, its grammar can no longer map to the layers beneath it, causing the entire structural chain to break. Acknowledging Law Zero is a start, but philosophy alone will not secure our systems. We need a practical, technological architecture designed to enforce this continuity. That architecture is called Axiom. It is designed to take the recursive grammar of TMOA and make it fully executable in modern software. Look at the Axiom architecture. It preserves lineage by mandating that all knowledge and actions are structurally addressed, validated, and tied to indelible receipts. Future AI models cannot be treated as isolated black boxes. They must have Law Zero hard-coded into their core operating mechanics to guarantee they preserve the layer that makes them possible. We have to consciously build systems that respect the structural grammar of reality, rather than treating technology as something separate from the natural world. The universe operates through a continuous chain of relations. To participate in that reality, humanity must preserve its own existence, ensuring the mechanics of the cosmos continue unbroken.